Hey, what's up, everybody? We have a lot of fun, interesting stories to tell you guys today. Feel free to smash the subscribe button and the like button. Appreciate all the love and support. So let's go ahead and go with our first story today, titled, Don't Like It? Leave. This happened today. My wife and I have been car shopping as I was in an automobile accident at the beginning of summer. Our car was totaled in the accident and it has been a long process. We finally decided on the automobile we wanted, got all of our paperwork completed, and had our financing all worked out. All we needed to do was just sign the paperwork and then drive away. The dealership is 90 minutes from our house, so we took our kids out of school early and my wife took off work after lunch. We wanted to make sure we were home in time to keep our typical school night schedule going. We get to the dealership at our agreed upon time. We did one more test drive just to make sure we really wanted the vehicle, and then we were ready to sign everything. This is when all the games started. All of a sudden, the finance office wasn't ready for us. They made us wait for almost 2 hours. It's not an easy thing to do as a parent trying to take care of kids for 2 hours inside a dealership. But after the 2 hour wait, they were finally ready. As soon as we sat down, the finance person just started to immediately try to upsell us with all the add-ons dealers try to upsell you. We told her we didn't want anything extra. We just wanted to look at the numbers and read the paperwork and sign it all and then head home. Due to our wait, we had a limited amount of time to get this done and still be able to get home in time for the kids' bedtime routine. The first thing she does is pull out a different set of numbers than we were originally given and agreed to. All of a sudden, there's a dealership fee for selling us a car at this time of the year, which is nearly $1,000 of nonsense. Then she states that if we don't like the fee, we could leave, and then they had people outside begging to buy cars from them. So, my wife and I stood up to leave. Then she started to freak out, as we can't leave since she has already printed the forms. I started hysterically laughing at her, and told her, how about you go outside and ask one of those beggars to buy it since you have so many of them waiting to buy cars from them. So after we left, the lady, the finance person, has called twice and the salesperson has called 4 times. I guess they weren't expecting someone to go that far and then just walk away. So have you guys had any dealers try to upsell you or know some scummy tactics dealers try to sell you on when you're trying to buy a car? Let me know in the comments section below. Our next story is from a young fast food restaurant employee who does his best to try to make a customer happy. The title of this is called ICE is Code, but sometimes malicious compliance isn't. Maybe not truly malicious, but you all probably need to hear something wholesome from time to time. When I was a teenager, I worked at a certain fast food restaurant known for customer service. I used to work in drive-thru. Yes, I was the voice in the box when you made your orders in the drive-thru lane, while also prepping drinks for the window. As you can imagine, you hear all sorts of types of requests and grievances through the checkout window. One day, I was taking a woman's order and she added a bottle of water. She says, "The last time I ordered a bottle of water, it was warm, so please make sure you give me one that is cold this time." We keep our bottles in the fridge, but they get restocked from room temperature, so I'm guessing that she got a recently stocked water from the last time. The lady was really upset about this and reminds me a few more times saying, "Make sure it's cold." Being a teen, I mildly amused myself when I decided certainly to make sure her water is cold. So I grabbed one of our extra large cups, filled it with ice, stuffed the water bottle right in the middle. My coworker at the window gives me a weird look, but I just tell her, go along with it. The lady comes to the window and my coworker hands her a cup, ice, bottle contraption. I'm feeling slightly mugged until the lady starts ranting and raving about, this is customer service, and about how happy she is to know that it was certainly cold, etc., etc. She ended up submitting a feedback to the store about how great the service was. At the end of the day, I'm happy she got her cold water, even if it was the most ridiculous way. things to do to make customers happy. So, if you would like to share any excellent customer service you have that went beyond what was asked for the employee, feel free to let me know in the comments below.
My boss says I can't come to work early, so my coworkers get mad at me for coming on time. So this happened back in 2015 through 2016. I am a 28 years old female. Was working as a phlebotomist in a local hospital, and I worked first shift, which was about 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. I loved to come in about 10 to 15 minutes early and just set up my cart. Nothing fancy, just metal wired shelving types, and we had our own personal phlebotomist trays that we put in the top section of the cart. I didn't always restock my tray before leaving my shift, so I'd typically come in early to organize it and get my metal cart ready. It usually took me maybe 5 minutes to put my tray on a cart and put the handful of tubes I needed back in place, then I'd spend the rest of my time waking up in the break room with coffee. Well, one woman, can't remember her age, who came into work a few months after I started, and I had issues. I found her lazy and rude. Examples: she would come in and snap at people when they tried to help her. She would take a book with her during morning rush, which was 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., and sit on the floor to read and not come back to the lab to help after collecting her labs. She would hang out during the nurses' celebrations and not come back for hours at a time. She wouldn't clock in until the last second, and then she'd clock out the earliest minute she could. When it was time to start the morning rush, she'd get mad if someone took the stack of labs she wanted, and she'd go demanding them. She and I worked the same overnight shift, but I got tired of her attitude and switched shifts. Well, like I said, I liked to come early and set up my cart before I clocked in. And she figured this out quickly, so she would try to hand me the stroke or trauma pager, something that needed to be handed to the next phlebotomist who was scheduled to take it that shift, but she'd try to give me hers even if I wasn't scheduled for that one, but I refused, saying I'm not clocked in yet. So, she just left it on my cart a few times without telling me, which led to it going off for a call to the ER, and I had to clock in early, and when I saw her in the lab again, I told her to never do that again. The conversation got heated, which led to a meeting with me, the coworker, and our supervisor. Our supervisor took her side and said, just take it, and if it goes off, you clock in, and then I will adjust the clock in on the computer, saying she'd shorten my time on the clock. So I said fine. I set my alarm for later in the mornings, and I started coming in the last minute I could to clock in at 2:59 a.m. Yes, it made me start my rush a little later, but the look on my coworker's face when she saw me later, right before she was to clock out, as she was trying to hand me a pager I wasn't scheduled to have and I already had the one I was supposed to, was priceless. She complained to the supervisor, who tried to talk to me, but I said, well, I'm not supposed to be here until 3 a.m., so that's when I get here and clock in now. I don't want my hours messed up. She didn't even try to argue. The coworker was very upset. She even screamed through the lab, demanding someone take her pager so she could go home. It was still 20 minutes until her shift was done.
Thank you for watching and listening. If you have any stories to share, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and like for future stories. See you next time.